Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one and only ICP. Now, listen, you know me, I'm super high on this coin. I do believe, it's pretty much a top 15 crypto, in my opinion, in utility and everything. Yes, I know it could do much better in ranking technically, but just so we don't debate too much, I pretty much put it up there, right? I put up there, I'm really high on the technology itself. And I do believe ICP will have its time to shine. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? We have seen very weird price action over the last week or two. We did get rejected last week, and we are starting to sell off a little bit. Here is the deal, people, right? ICP has to make a choice because we are running out of room. We can see at the bottom here, we have a nice floor of 4.55. Then we have another floor at 4.83. And just in case you're confused, it's pretty much the bottom of the black candle. And we have another one at 511. But we can see that we are also getting squished from the top, right? We take the blue candle at 598 and over here at 568. So you can see, right? We have the floor rising and the roof going down. So we have to make a choice. We really have to make a choice sooner than later. And you can see ICP, it tried going up, it sold off. Now, to be honest, based off this price action just on the daily, this does seem very bearish, right? This does seem bearish for me as of right now. There's not too many reversal confirmations. Usually when we do reverse, we don't stay at a price for long. We can see we stay here for roughly 12 to 16 hours, we pump. We stay here for a couple hours, we pump. Here, we've been struggling. We've been struggling a lot. So we will have to monitor it. We will have to see how things close. All right. We are technically kind of consolidating. So this could just technically be a period where we consolidate and then break above, which obviously would be the most ideal, right? But overall, I am not too worried with ICP. On the bigger picture, right, we are seeing a lot of nice monthly rejection candles, right? These are very weak rejection candles. I mean, they're very good rejection candles, but they're very weak in terms of selling candles. See, May and June practically don't exist, right? We can see, boom, right? Look how small they are. Look at that selling pressure. Look how nice July treated us. So if you compare July even just to how June and May were, right? The price action is much better. Despite us kind of being in a similar range, in terms of closes, we're looking really good, really juicy. And that is just the reality, right? That is just the reality. Technically, these also do count as like doji reverse candles. So, you know, even more confirmation. And just for more confirmation, I mean, we've literally just been lingering here for a very long time. And not only that, but we have technically broke out of this trend over here, right? We technically broke out of it. We created the highest weekly candle close in ever since pretty much what is this, sometime in February, mid to late February. So it was months. It was like what, 5 months difference, right? We have from February to March, from March to April, from April to May, from May to June, from June to July. Yeah, pretty much 5 months. So we finally broke out, and yeah, we're kind of just in this narrow kind of trend, but it is still technically kind of above this whole price action, right? So even if we do go down, we shouldn't really go down much further. There could be fake outs, of course, right? Fake outs are like no one's immune to fake outs. But the thing is, it's called a fake out for a reason because it baits people, it sweeps price, it makes the markets look scary for those couple of minutes, for that hour, for that half a day, for that whole day. But then things recover. You see how the weekly ends, and you're like, wait, this was just in hindsight, you're like, oh, well, this was such like the most obvious fake out ever. So that's why it's good not to panic, right? It is good not to panic. Overall, for me, these are just buying opportunities, right? We talked about it before, but we'll say it again. If we take it from pretty much the range top to the range bottom, right? We can see that we're roughly at 50% of the range. So this is really good. Like this is really good. And if you actually want to be more kind of accurate and consistent with it, in terms of consistency, the range bottom is kind of 444 and the range top is more or less, kind of around 610. So we'll do this a little bit lower. So we can see, yeah, technically it is a little bit more than a 50% discount. It's very nice, people. Buying now, buying even lower, you're getting the discounted price in the accumulation. Because overall, I mean, even if you bought up here at 620, for me, you're still getting a very, very nice discount because I do believe ICP ultimately will be heading to $35. And then the next station is going to be, $72. And we talked about it before, but ICP could hit that 180 to 200 to $280 mark. Now, obviously, there's going to have to be some exceptions. There's going to have to be some, you know, insane things to happen, but it is possible, right? It is possible. Something I do want to show you guys is pretty much Cardano on the weekly. Now, this is very important because we see something like this happen every single time before price officially pumps. Okay, so we can see that Cardano has multiple bottoms here back in 2023, right? We can see these are weekly candles. And then eventually, ladies and gentlemen, right, we have some kind of insane momentum. Oh, it sells off, but this was technically a higher low compared to this. And then guess what? Nice green week. Then another one, right? Nice confirmation. And this is where I kind of bought earlier on, was when I saw this weekly candle close. I bought around the 29, 28 cents, and I just made a quick 2x over the next, month and a half. It was super, super nice because Cardano pumped first. So I made roughly a 2x, and then I put that other stuff into stuff like render. Right, render was around like $2 or $3 at the time, in terms of flipping, and then went all the way to like 14. So we got that nice money in terms of flip. So it was crazy. It was really, really nice. But we can see, the price action kind of just looks iffy. It looks kind of disgusting. It looks kind of inconsistent. It's hard to tell sometimes. And then momentum. Same thing here, right? Same thing here. You're going up. You technically have a higher high here, right? You have this high here of 39 cents. That's higher than 38. But then all of a sudden you have a weak candle. And then it kind of looks iffy, and then explosion, right? But then when we go look at something like the wicks, we can see, right, that the bottom is 32 and a half, right? We can see the bottom's here, 33 cents, and the bottom is 33.3 cents. So, the edges count the most. The edges do count the most. And we can see that technically they're all higher lows, and eventually we get a burst through. Why am I telling you this? Well, because, ladies and gentlemen, technically, it's for something like ICP. ICP can technically still fall to 480, I would say. Right? I'd say technically it can still fall to 480. It can technically close below 511 and still be valid. Right? That's why I'm telling you this information. But overall, it's the same picture. We are just going sideways. Things are looking good. I do believe, once we break out of this zone, we're not coming back, right? We really are not coming back. I think if we do, let's say go to $70 tops, right? If we go back all the way to this price action, I really do think in the future that when ICP drops, right, the bottom is probably going to be, you know, yeah, it'll probably be again 7.5 to $12 ICP in the future, right? That's where probably I would see ICP bottoming out in the future if we did go to this, relevant area up here for $75 in the cycle. I could definitely see ICP eventually going off this trend line, probably going off of this support over here. And I think like $8 ICP is very, very nice. So that's where we could see ICP in the future, once the whole cycle's over. So you pretty much are getting a discount, and you're never going to see these types of prices again once we get out of it. Okay, once we get out of it, you probably will never see a $5 ICP. You'll never see a $4 ICP. You'll never see a $6 ICP. I'm really, really confident with that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys did enjoy. I love you guys so much. If you have any questions or anything, make sure to join the Discord. Make sure to join the private community. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.